My crazy brother allowed his own daughter to be molested. When I found out, I ran away with her and cut all contact. I have always had a close relationship with my niece. She is the sweetest girl ever and calls me her favorite aunt, even though I'm her only aunt. Her mom passed away during childbirth, so it was hard for my brother to raise her alone. As a result, I would often take care of her while he was busy. I would take her to movies, restaurants, and even go to her school as her guardian. I loved her a lot and didn't mind doing all that for her. I was actually unable to have kids with my husband, and it felt like she was filling an empty void in my heart. I knew it wasn't fair to my brother, but sometimes I treated her like she was the daughter I never had. I would tell her about girls-only nights, and we would fall asleep together while eating chips. Whenever I bought her a cake and a present for her birthday, she would always be so excited that the entire house would light up. She would make sure to keep thanking me for weeks after that. Last year was the same, but I noticed something odd this year. She recently celebrated her 12th birthday at my house, and I noticed that she wasn't as happy as I expected. I tried asking my brother, in other words her father, if something was wrong, but he didn't answer my question. The only guests were family, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I decided to take my niece away from all the noise and ask if she was alright in private. I took her up to the room that she stayed in whenever she would come over, but as soon as I asked her what was wrong, she just started crying. She was hugging me so hard that I almost started panicking. I had never seen her cry before this, and wondered exactly what was bothering her, but she didn't stop crying for several minutes. I told her that I love her, and am always here for her, so she can tell me everything. She somehow found the courage to tell me the truth, and I couldn't believe it. It turns out, a teacher at her school had taken her away into an abandoned classroom, and touched her inappropriately over her clothes. When she told this to her dad, he brushed it off like it was nothing, but she was obviously very uncomfortable, so she kept pressing him to do something about it. And my idiot brother had gotten angry at her, told her to shut up and never tell anyone about what happened. I was literally in shock and kept hugging my niece close to my chest, because I didn't want to break down crying in front of her. The first thing I did was put some headphones on her with some calming music, and told her that she could play on my iPad. Then I desperately called my husband upstairs and told him about the situation. I was furious at the school and even more so at my brother, but I didn't know how to handle the situation. But it turns out, my husband was even more furious than I was. He rushed down and punched my brother right in the face, and in front of the entire family, including my parents, he screamed, "You dare let your own daughter be molested at school, and did nothing?" I thought my brother would make up some excuse, and he did exactly that. He said, "Oh, for Christ's sake, stop bothering me. That girl took my wife away from me, so everything she says is invalid in my opinion. She is probably lying about that incident anyway, and even if she isn't, I don't care." For a few seconds, everyone in the house was silent. I was praying that my niece still had the headphones on, and didn't listen to her own father say that. My dad quickly discerned what the situation was about, and supported my husband by kicking my brother out with force. A lot of relatives couldn't bear the uncomfortable situation, and made some excuse to leave. After that, I couldn't take it anymore either and just broke down. I never thought that my brother was hiding such resentment about the passing of his wife, and blaming an innocent girl in the process. What would he have done had she not gained the courage to tell me the truth? Would he have let that particular teacher continue his wrongdoings? Just the thought alone makes me want to puke. But I knew I had to stand up and put a stop to this. I sat down with my parents and my husband to talk about how to handle everything. The first thing we decided was that my dad would go to the school and make sure that teacher got fired or arrested. I trust him, so I am leaving that part to him. Then comes the question of whether we should let my niece go back to her father, but with the way that he reacted, I honestly didn't want to let him near her ever again. Thankfully, my husband and I were planning to move to a different state because he would get a higher paying job. The only reason I hadn't said yes was because I didn't want to get separated from my niece. But this was the perfect opportunity. We decided that we were going to move, and simply take our niece with us. We live in a country where there is no such thing as a child protective services, so this wasn't going to be that hard. But I needed to make sure that my niece wanted this. I went back upstairs, and very gently asked her if she wanted to come with us even if it meant not seeing her father again. I can't count how many times she said yes. My brother had been ignoring her at home, and in her mind, we were her true parents anyway. I'm a bit ashamed to say that I was actually glad this happened, because now I could be with her every day and protect her. For the next few days, we sorted all loose ends and kept avoiding my brother. My niece was staying with us since we could just buy her new clothes and toys. My dad, as he said he would, and got that teacher fired from the school and even his teaching license was revoked. We had to inform the principal that we were taking her to a different state, and he wrote a recommendation letter for us that would help her start in a new school right away. As the days went by, my niece became more and more happier because she didn't have to see her father or that teacher ever again. Now, we have been living in this new house for nearly a month, and things are better than ever. I have blocked my brother and have had no contact with him after that day. I'm sure he's asking my parents about the whereabouts of his daughter, but they aren't going to tell him. I don't regret doing this, because he's the one who started all this. If he wasn't a spineless father who blames an innocent soul, he wouldn't have lost a daughter.